Hi guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. Good to see you guys again, and I'm here today with my epic comparison. It's a Snapdragon 855 battle between not one, not two, but three phones, and I have them right here. The Xiaomi Mi 9, the Galaxy S10 Plus, and the Vivo IQOO. Now, these phones bring a lot to the table here. And so what is the major difference between these phones? It's got to be the price. The Xiaomi Mi 9 and the Vivo IQOO both have a price of around 4,000 Hong Kong dollars, around there. So around 500 US dollars, whereas the Galaxy S10 Plus is coming in closer to that $800 to $900 mark. I paid around 6,700 Hong Kong dollars, but your prices will vary on location. So the real question I want to answer in this video is which of these three phones is worth your money, number one, and then really though, number two, does the Galaxy S10 Plus really cost twice the amount of these other two phones? Does it bring twice as much performance, twice as much quality, and just twice as much phone to the table here? Let's have a look. But before I get into that, I want to share again that this video is sponsored by Skillshare. Now, Skillshare is a learning community for creators. It's got more than 25,000 classes in a number of fields, so design, filmmaking, music making, and the premium membership gives you unlimited access. So you can join any of the classes that you think are really fitting your current goals, your New Year's resolution goals. So one of my resolutions of 2019 is to really improve the video quality here on Frankie Tech. And I've currently found one class, as you see here, DIY filmmaking, turning your videos into more like films, that has really helped me understand basic concepts of filmmaking, like key lights, fill lights, understanding your contrast ratios, and really helping you just create a more evocative shot. And I hope to continue doing these types of courses and continue improving Frankie Tech with this type of resource. Now, Skillshare is also super affordable, so the annual subscription is less than $10 a month. So go check it out, guys. Go join the more than 7 million creators using this awesome service. And as a special offer, my first 500 subscribers to use the link in the description will get a 2-month free trial. So thanks again, guys, for watching this and for supporting the channel. And thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. So jumping right into design for these phones, and just some quick specs off the bat. The Mi 9 has a 7.6 millimeter thickness there, and it is definitely the thinnest of all these phones at 173 grams. It's also the lightest, whereas the Galaxy S10 Plus is a 7.8 millimeter thickness, so just a little bit bigger there, 175 grams. These phones are almost exactly the same weight there, but the Vivo IQOO tops off at 8.5 millimeters of thickness, and it is 180 grams, so it's the heaviest of the three. I would say of all these three phones, there is some great design going on here. These two guys, and that's kind of related to the main question, these are the budget flagships, and here we have your proper flagship. Now, what are you getting for more than double the price here on the Galaxy S10 Plus? Well, you're getting a fit and finish, I think, that is second to none. And there's nothing against the fit and finish of these other phones. I'm really not saying that they are, less well made. And if you look at them from a close up there, they all look very well made. But there's just something about the edge and feel of the Galaxy S10 Plus that is just something else. Looking at the sides, we have the volume rocker and power button, and there is I think this is the AI button on, there it is, the AI button on the Vivo IQOO. And then you flip it to the other side. The S10 actually has the power button on this side, the volume rocker, and then this is the Bixby button, whereas the Vivo IQOO has its volume rocker a little bit further down. I think I like the placement of the Vivo IQOO and Mi 9s better. People have complained about the height of the button placement on the power button on the S10 Plus as being a negative thing. And then obviously on the Vivo IQOO, you do have those monster buttons for gameplay there. And now you see on this side, the Mi 9 is the only phone of these three that does not have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. I think my favorite placement is the one on the S10 Plus, which has it at the bottom here, all USB-Cs with a speaker and mic grills, but the Vivo IQOO does put the actual 3.5 millimeter headphone jack on the top. And this is what I mean by build. There's just something about the build, the look of this. It just looks a little bit cheaper on the Vivo IQOO. Don't get me wrong, it's still a very nice phone, but if I had to pick between these two, it's close. And I gotta give props to Xiaomi. Look at this, they have an IR blaster here. They've done a lot of good stuff. And the backs of these phones are also very impressive. I think for the price, the Xiaomi Mi 9 is by far the most sleek appearing, and it just looks really premium. And the Vivo IQOO also has that cool light on the back, and it's got this cool kind of patterned back that radiates in the light. It looks really nice there. But like I said this before in the previous comparison, I still think that there's something about this Galaxy S10 in this beautiful prism green that is more premium. I don't know what it is. This color, it looks like it's got multiple layers to it. And so does the Mi 9, but maybe because it doesn't have the holographic back, it's just this really deep green which reflects in a very kind of premium way. It just looks great. And the edges are just, they feel so good. The tolerances on this phone are really comparable to the iPhone in many ways. It is just supremely well built. And looking at the bezels on these phones, they are some of the smallest bezels on the market. I still think that the S10 Plus has the smallest bezels here, and the other two are very close, very, very close indeed, especially because of the curved edge on the S10 Plus. You have a little bit more on both of these phones, whereas I think the Vivo IQOO definitely has a little bit thicker on the side there. You know, in terms of screen to body ratios, they are all in that kind of 85 to 88%, but according to GSM Arena, the S10 Plus is at 88.9% screen to body ratio, and I believe it. This top bezel here is smaller than the one on both of these phones, and once you factor in the fact that it's a capsule cutout here, and shout out to whoever on the channel who came up with that, the capsule cutout, not the hole punch, the capsule, I like that, versus these two teardrop notches. I think the S10 fit and finish and build quality wins this design round, and if I had to give a second place here, it's going to go to the Xiaomi Mi 9 with the Vivo IQOO getting third. And since we already have the settings opened up here, I can go ahead and talk about the displays on these phones. And the displays on all these, the one thing they do have in common is that they are all AMOLED. So that is the one similarity. And the other similarity, I would say, is the sizes. So we got a 6.39-inch display here on the Xiaomi Mi 9, 6.4 on the Galaxy S10 Plus, and 6.41 on the Vivo IQOO. I didn't plan that, guys, by the way. I'm putting them in this order, but how funny that each of these is 0.01 of an inch difference here. So they're practically, for all intents and purposes, the same screen size here. Now, in terms of quality, I think there is definitely a significant difference between the quality on the Mi 9 and the Vivo IQOO versus the Galaxy S10 Plus. Samsung is sparing no expense, and the white point on this is just great. If you look at the kind of screen options here, and we go to contrast and color for each one. Now you can see the normal mode. That's the bright mode here on the Vivo IQOO. But what Samsung has, it just has vivid and natural. And when you put it on vivid, the white point is just stellar, and the colors, they just pop. Look at the colors there versus the ones on the Vivo IQOO. Even on bright mode, it just looks a little less vibrant. And that's kind of what Samsung is famous for, getting these really kind of in-depth colors there. Whereas on the Xiaomi Mi 9, we have increased contrast. I like keeping it on that just because it allows the colors to look a little bit better there. But I think both of these panels are good, but this panel is just great. And so far, I would give the edge here to the Galaxy S10 Plus in terms of display. And here you see YouTube playback, Frankie Tech playback on all of these phones. And there's just the colors on the S10, and this video just doesn't do it justice. They pop. And now it looks good on both of these phones, and they are immersive displays. They are all immersive displays. But I think the key here on the S10, and I'll show it to you guys right here. So you see here, if you go to Video Enhancer, right here in Advanced Features, and this actually, the moment that I opened up YouTube, it actually prompted me to turn this on. And so what it says here is enhance the image quality of your videos to enjoy brighter, more vivid colors. When I have that off, you see the difference there. Now, once I've turned that off and go back to YouTube, you see the difference is actually not as drastic between the Xiaomi Mi 9 and the Vivo IQOO. So that vivid mode is really making a difference in terms of YouTube playback. And I think it is something that if you turn it on, will give you some really punchy colors on the Galaxy S10 and is a welcome addition, I think, because when I'm watching video, I want the colors to pop. I want it to look nice. And so I give the edge here just because of the numerous options on kind of YouTube playback in vivid mode to the Galaxy S10 Plus. And between these two right here, it's a toss-up. It really is a toss-up. I almost would need to tie the Xiaomi Mi 9 with the Vivo IQOO in terms of YouTube playback. I would probably pick the Mi 9 just because of the way the teardrop notch appears and the slightly smaller bezels on the sides. But it's just a nitpick, really. But you see here in DRM Info, this is one area where the S10 Plus just has a main advantage over the other two. L3 on both the Xiaomi Mi 9 and the Vivo IQOO. Now, clearly, if you get the global version of the Mi 9, you might get L1 on that too. And I think when they release in Hong Kong, it should have L1 as well. But right now, this is the only phone I got that's got HD Netflix to enjoy. So the S10 Plus wins in DRM Info. And talking about battery life, you've seen my Xiaomi Mi 9 and Vivo IQOO drain test and charge test, so you know that these two phones performed incredibly. The Mi 9 with a 3,300 milliampere battery did just incredible with an almost 11-hour drain time and just 1 hour charge time, whereas the Vivo IQOO, it was the king and it still remains the king of Frankie Tech with a drain time of well over 11.5 hours. It probably could have gone longer there, and a charge time of 42 minutes for a 4,000 milliampere battery is just spectacular. Now, there is one phone that I haven't done fully a drain test for, and that is the Galaxy S10 Plus. But what I did do here was a partial Geekbench battery score battery test, and these were the results I got. So essentially what this means is the battery score estimate is 6,838 with a confidence of medium. And kind of comparing, I haven't used this test for a while, but I would say that that is pretty good results so far. I don't trust, though, I'll show you here on GSAM battery monitor, it is predicting a 4-hour and 38-minute screen on time. So the only way to really test this will be to do a drain test. Now, I don't really want to do a drain test anytime soon, but if there's enough kind of wanting for a drain test here, guys, I will happily put this phone and drain it and see how it goes. But the reality is I'm not doing an epic one, so it may be against the Mi 9 or maybe against the Vivo IQOO. We'll see, but stay tuned for that. I'll definitely be doing that in the future. So good battery performance from all these so far. I'm really averaging around 9 to 10 hours, I feel, so far with the S10 Plus. So I don't think it's going to do any worse than these other two, but that is the deal with battery. And if I had to give the edge to one right now, at least just from my initial testing, it's the Vivo IQOO. It still remains the king. So maybe that's the video I should do. Here's the king, here's the contender. How do they do? We'll wait and see. And talking about performance, specifically here in Geekbench 4, this is the Snapdragon 855 battle, so you would expect that there would be very little difference between all of these results, and yet for some reason the Galaxy S10 Plus is a full 500 almost points higher than the Xiaomi Mi 9. I think this may have scored a little bit lower. I'm not sure why that scored a little bit lower. I may need to retest at some point, but the Vivo IQOO is very much in line here with the results on the Galaxy S10 Plus. So you're going to be in that 3,400, 3,500 range for single core scores, and then 11,000 for multi-core. And so that is incredible performance here on any of these chips and on any of these phones per se. And the main point here I'm trying to say, though, is that this phone, if you remember the price difference versus these two, you are not losing any performance at all getting the Mi 9 or the Vivo IQOO. So now talking about software skins and UI, and we're comparing here MIUI 10 versus One UI and FunTouch OS 9. Now, if I threw this question out and asked you which is your favorite of these software skins, I think a lot of you would immediately say MIUI 10. And you know what? You're probably right with that. In fact, I've always sang the praises of MIUI 10. I've said it's been a really good kind of just upgrade from MIUI 9. Performance is pretty slick, and on the Mi 9, it's just flown. It hasn't shown any issues. But I will say that Samsung has made great strides here in One UI on the Galaxy S10 Plus. Now, someone's complained that the icons seem a little bit big on One UI. That is one small nitpick, but everything else on this skin has been smooth, has been really enjoyable to use. I do like the way they've implemented the notification tray here, and just the way that the notifications look, something about it just works. It feels right. Maybe the font has also changed. Oh, not going into Bixby. But something about the way the font has changed here on One UI just makes it feel more premium, a more premium software interface. And I think is probably my favorite version of any Samsung skin that I've ever used. TouchWiz is dead, so I would say this is a major improvement, and it really brings One UI now up to the level of the other kind of top software skins if you want to compare to Oxygen OS or MIUI 10 or stock Android, in my opinion. Now, I don't think I even need to ask this, but which of these three phones has the worst software skin? You guessed it. It's FunTouch OS, and I have said that this is a deal breaker in many cases for using this phone. I've never liked this shortcut center the way it is, and everything just feels not as premium, not as just intuitive. I've said the settings on FunTouch OS are a mess. They continue to be a mess. And you guys asked in the comments, why don't you switch to another launcher? Why don't you put on Nova Launcher? Well, guess what, guys? I tried to put Nova Launcher on this phone. I tried to put the rootless Pixel Launcher on this phone. Rootless Launcher, none of them work. And I've looked up in numerous forums, and they all say the same thing, that the China version of FunTouch OS, it will not allow you to change the launcher. So if you're going to buy this phone, you should really, really consider that, because you're going to be stuck with FunTouch OS with no app drawer, with a very annoying shortcut center, and with settings that's probably the messiest settings on any phone I've ever tested, kind of second to maybe only ZUI 10. So that's going to be something to consider here. And when it comes to just performance, fluidity, and just overall software experience, it's a tight one, but I will give this to the Xiaomi Mi 9. I still appreciate MIUI 10 better. And even though this is the China version of the phone, I very much just like the tray here. It works better than on the Galaxy S10 Plus and One UI. The gestures on One UI are also kind of trash. They're just not good. I really think they need to go back to the drawing board and really explore more the style of gestures that MIUI 10 is using. And so I would definitely give this the first place, One UI second, but in a distant third here, the Vivo IQOO with its FunTouch OS, and it's probably a deal breaker for any of you guys who are considering it. Wait for the global version, because that is probably the version that will allow you to change the launcher, and then we can talk, Vivo. Then we can talk. So now here we are in PUBG. We're going to do a little bit of gaming on these three phones, and clearly this is the specs recommended for the Galaxy S10 Plus. I expected no less. So let's jump right into the game here. But before we do that, there you go. There are the settings on all three phones, Ultra and HDR. And Ultra HD is not available on the Galaxy S10 Plus or on the Vivo IQOO. So here we are in the game. All the phones loaded pretty quickly there. And here we are, the classic Frankie Tech swim test. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. And one thing I've noticed here is that the S10 Plus, just like the S10e before it, is cutting off a lot of screen there because of the way that punch hole is acting there. Kind of like a notch. And looking at the plane here, all of these phones are running this smoothly, beautifully. I would say because the S10 Plus has that limitation there, it is actually not the most immersive gameplay of these three phones, which, considering it is the flagship, is pretty incredible. Of all these three, I probably like the way it looks on the Xiaomi Mi 9 the best, and the Vivo IQOO would come second here. Seems to be cutting off about equal amounts on these two phones. So let's land, run around, and have a look. And playing here on the Vivo IQOO, we're getting killed. I'm just getting destroyed here. And I actually was already killed on the Xiaomi Mi 9. The Galaxy S10 is my best bet here. The Galaxy S10 Plus. Dude, it's not easy playing PUBG on three phones. I'll tell you that much. Let's see if I can get one more kill here. And so there is the town coming up there. There's the airport. Someone is shooting me here on the Galaxy S10 Plus. Let's see where he's coming from. And there he is. Oh yeah, take that. 2 kills. And I must have not recorded the first kill, guys. So dumb of me. You know, you get so involved in this game, you don't even realize that you're filming a video. It happens. It happens. But just going down to the performance here on PUBG, the S10 Plus is not warm at all. And I think that's very indicative with how just good a phone and in terms of performance of gameplay the S10 Plus is. But don't get me wrong, the Xiaomi Mi 9 and Vivo IQOO have all done great in PUBG. And I think you can be rest assured that you will be having awesome PUBG experiences on all of these phones. And now the audio speaker test. I'm going to move the mic down and let's have a listen. And what can I say? The results here, a clear victory for the Galaxy S10 Plus. Now, I think the Vivo IQOO and Mi 9 both suffer from the same issue. Once you get up into that 100% range, the speakers do get tinny. They start getting just a little bit. It's almost like the drivers in there just can't handle that loud a volume and keeping the sounds and the mids and the balance right. Whereas the Galaxy S10 Plus, it just sounds great. It really does. And I think it's really incredible to see how Samsung has progressed here in terms of their speaker quality. I always used to think that Samsung had the worst speakers, but clearly that is not the case anymore. They've stepped up their game. And so in a first place win here, the Galaxy S10 Plus takes this speaker round. And I really give a tie in third or second place, whatever you want to consider here, for the Mi 9 and the Vivo IQOO. And now talking lastly about camera. And so one thing these three have in common here is that they are all running triple camera setups. But that is it. The triple camera arrangement on these phones couldn't be any more different. And looking here at the viewfinders, this will show you a lot of what is going on in terms of those functionalities for each phone. Now, I think I just like the cleanest in terms of look. The Xiaomi Mi 9s, you have a very basic kind of swipe and you go from photo. Now they've actually released in the last update here 48 megapixel, the 48M setting here. So you don't have to go into pro mode anymore. You got portrait, night mode. Whereas on the S10 Plus, it's a little bit different here. It's using these little trees where you go wide angle, you go regular, and then you go telephoto. Now it does get stuck there sometimes when I'm clicking, let's say through here, it'll end up going right into the kind of more details of it, and I don't like that. I wish it was a little bit less finicky there. Live focus is what they call portrait mode on the Galaxy S10 Plus, whereas on the Vivo IQOO's camera interface is probably the most messy and just most confusing of all. You have to go up here to toggle the portrait light effect and portrait mode. Now, all of these phones can shoot 4K 30 frames per second, but the Xiaomi Mi 9 and the Galaxy S10 Plus can both shoot 4K 60 frames per second out of the box, whereas the Vivo IQOO, right now at least, is limited to 30. And looking at the main specs of these cameras, we got that 48 megapixel main sensor on the Xiaomi Mi 9, 16 megapixel and 12 megapixel, whereas on the Galaxy S10 Plus, they're dual 12 megapixels with that 16 megapixel ultra wide. Now, this is dual aperture here, so it's f1.5 to 2.4 versus the Xiaomi Mi 9, whose main sensor is f1.8. And then at the end here, the Vivo IQOO, which is really a gaming-focused phone. And I think, it's awesome to see that they've put a triple camera setup in here, but it's only got a 12 megapixel f1.8 with a 13 megapixel ultra-wide, and then that 2 megapixel f2.4 depth sensor. Don't want to go really into the specs of these phones, really want to just share the photo samples I've taken so far. So have a look at these photo samples right here, just photo samples for now, and I will definitely be posting, if I do get to do around to doing video, in the G Drive there. So have a look at these samples and let me know what you think in the comments. So that's the end of the video and my final verdict on these three phones. Which one would I pick? Now let's kind of compare all three quickly here. An overview. The Mi 9, it's a great performer. It's probably Xiaomi's best phone that they've ever released, from design, display, raw performance. Its audio is pretty solid, and the camera shots it takes, I think are a step above really what they've done previously. The Vivo IQOO, it brings a lot to the table. It's got that great gaming prowess, and I think it definitely outperforms the Xiaomi Mi 9 in gaming, but at the same time, it does bring some other factors to the table, like quick charging and one of the best drain times I've seen on my channel. So the Vivo IQOO, definitely a great performer there. And then we got the Galaxy S10 Plus, which I feel is the most premium of these three phones. I mean, the Galaxy S10 Plus, it is just at another level of fit and finish. And you see the camera samples there, especially the wide angles. The wide angle shots the S10 Plus does are stellar. They are some of the widest wide angles, and portrait mode on the S10 Plus, as you've seen from my previous samples, is just terrific. So if I only had to pick one of these, if money was no object, I would obviously pick the Galaxy S10 Plus, and that's just reality. I mean, I think if money was no object, I think you may all pick the Galaxy S10 Plus. You could then trade it in and buy two Mi 9s, you know what I mean? So I think that's not really the question here. But when it comes down to value, which phone offers the most value? If I only had to pick one, I'm gonna have to go with the Xiaomi Mi 9. The Xiaomi Mi 9 is just the perfect blend of design, display, performance, camera, audio quality, and just looks. And it is just a great phone in terms of just day-to-day use. I really have enjoyed the Xiaomi Mi 9, and at the price that it's coming in at, which is around 3,299 yuan for the kind of higher end model, and we're going into 3,800, close to 4,000 right now probably, because of the supply issues that they've been having. The Xiaomi Mi 9 is a little bit more expensive, but the price will come down eventually. But I just think when it comes to just overall day-to-day use, this phone has got it where it counts. And when you're thinking about that price difference, that's the thing that I know is most important to you guys, that price to performance ratio. You're not even going to be considering the Galaxy S10 Plus because it's just way too expensive for the money. If money is no object, this is definitely the more well-rounded phone. But if money is an object, and it pretty much is, I think, for most of you smartphone buyers out there, then the Mi 9 is a far better choice. Now, if I had to kind of look at these two, because they do provide great value here, which of these two phones is offering more value, the Vivo IQOO or the Xiaomi Mi 9? I'm also going to go with the Xiaomi Mi 9. Now, don't get me wrong, I appreciate the extra battery life on the Vivo, and I appreciate the quick charging times, but I just cannot recommend using FunTouch OS long term. If you want to try it out and you definitely want to get this phone and gaming is your thing, definitely try to get the global version when it comes out. There is no global version at this time because right now you can't change the launcher on this. And if you're going to spend a year with FunTouch OS with its just annoying shortcuts and just messy settings, you're going to regret it. You really are going to regret it. So I think between these two, the Mi 9 is still the better option, and that is kind of just my opinion. But hit me up in the comments which of these two phones you think provides better value overall. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you like this video, give me that thumbs up. And if you love the content of Frankie Tech, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for future updates. So a different setup here. I have a few things in the background that which you maybe haven't seen before. My classic Mac and my other Mac over there and some other phones and stuff like that. I'm working with the setup here, still trying to figure things out, but hope you enjoyed this triple phone battle here between the Xiaomi Mi 9, Galaxy S10 Plus, and the Vivo IQOO. And this is where I leave you by saying, this is Frankie Tech, signing off. Y'all have a good one.